good to see. A few more people coming in. And we're live for this 77 kilo final. We had an email in from a supporter from Lithuania asking when Ramūnas, and I hope I'm going to say this correctly, he'll hopefully understand, Ramūnas Visnauskas, I hope Visnauskas is going to lift. Well, I can tell you, sir, that he's scheduled to go in the 105B division, which competes on Saturday at 1 o'clock local time. So unfortunately, he's not going to be on television. But what we will do is to bring you the results of that. So 1 o'clock on Saturday is when Ramūnas makes his challenge. Another question we got, David, in earlier today was the use of the belt. Why do some lifters wear a belt and others?
Well, same reason that some athletes wear wrist bandages and knee straps, because they feel that it gives them a little bit more support. I mean, looking at the guy on stage at the moment, he's quite young, his knees are good, his wrists are good. He doesn't feel that he needs to use any support, but a lot of people, myself included, feel a lot safer with the belt. But it's just personal preference, really. And I suppose in reality it doesn't really do that much when you've got 180, 200 kilos on your shoulders. But if it makes you feel better, then it's worth using.
So are you really saying it's mostly psychological?
Well, I don't think a piece of leather around your waist can really do that much. If the muscles aren't strong and can't support the weight, then you're in trouble. The belt's not going to support the weight. It's just a little bit of added confidence, I think.
So we're into the early stages of this clean and jerk competition. The best performance in the B division earlier today, that was 147.5 kilos from Campos, the Venezuelan. And it's going to be Hegedus of Romania following himself here, which is the reason for the 2-minute wait. 180 kilos on the bar. Perepechenov, for me, David, still in a very strong position, mostly because he's only 5 kilos behind, which I think is fortunate that the others had the failure, but he's got an extra piece of good fortune in as much that he's the second lightest in the whole of tonight's competition, and he's lighter than all of his major opponents. So in a sense, that's worth 2.5 kilos. So technically he may even now be theoretically only 2.5 kilos off the pace. So Yeliashkov is really going to have to be delivering his top performance in clean and jerk to hold on to the lead, I think. As we see Hegedus 180. Well, what happened there? I think he could have done that, David.
Yeah, he seems to have a very bad arm lock on the right side. And if you watch this, lean's no problem. But now, as we look at that right arm, he isn't really locking it out and he's struggling to hold it. Because a good arm lock is a genetic thing. You're either born with it or you're not. And if you have arms that don't lock, then you're having to hold it on the strength of your triceps. The muscles at the back of the arm are having to hold the weight, rather than a lot of these athletes whose arms actually lock back. They can hold it with the use of the triceps and also with the use of the joint. So it makes it much harder if the arms don't naturally lock out properly.
Well, nobody else wants 180, so I'm afraid Mr. Hegedus, Vasily Hegedus, 5th in Europe, snatched 152.5 kilos, clean and jerked 180 in Trenchin. So he's very much on the same marks, really. Managed 150 in the snatch. So not having a particularly fantastic day on stage today.
and in real trouble, because the clean and jerk takes such a lot of energy to have to follow yourself attempt after attempt is very difficult.
So a failure here means that he will go home without a total. Once again, the clean is straightforward. And when he has to fight for it, which is what he had to do then, he finds it. But unfortunately for him, he's left with 3:30. And that's the end of his evening's work. .330, weighed in at 76.20, the light man in the class, so he does actually, by virtue of weight, stay ahead of the best man in the B division, the Colombian Hector Ballesteros, who also totaled 3:30, as did Campos of Venezuela. So now Kozlowski, I should say. He's really part of the old school in a sense. He's part of the old guard. The Polish team has, certainly the women's division, has moved on quite a lot. And with the likes of Kolecki, the 20-year-old Pole in the 94 kilo division. Kolecki's the future. And 2-1, and I'm not surprised. 2-1 in his favour, so he's got away with it. But have a look at the end of this, David.
Yeah, it's just a little bit on that left arm, but the weight was not a problem. I think he's just a bit lazy.
So it could be Kozlowski coming out to follow himself again. I'm not sure.
Well, I don't think he'll be jumping 2.5. I think maybe he's just buying some time. I'm sure he'll jump to 190. Yeah, of course, one of the tactics when you follow yourself, instead of 1 minute you have 2, and a lot of athletes will wait and let some of that time roll by, and then change the bar just to buy themselves some rest time.
Quite hard to come back when you consider he was virtually out of the sport from 97 until today. This is his first major competition since 1997.
He's done very well. He's three good. Oh, there we go. The clock was stopped just before the minute. And
gone up to 190.
Yeah, so using the tactic of waiting just under the minute and then increasing. So he now gets another 2 minutes on the clock. Well, no, he doesn't get another 2 minutes on the clock. He gets a minute, so. He should have 2 minutes, but the clock's ticking down, and
so Kozlowski coming out for 190 kilos. Second attempt. At the moment, leading the overall competition with a total of 345 kilos. So this to take it to 350.
So he needs to drive out with those arms this time.
That's 350 kilos, but only again by 2-1. And we are now 25 kilos below the overall total world record of Perepetchenov of 375. The world clean and jerk record, 210 kilos, 463 pounds, 33 stone. Well, Popper on his day is capable of a lot more than this, David. But I'm suspicious of some of the facts that we're given here, suggesting just how many kilos over 200 he's capable of. What you're told about in the training hall and what happens on the competition stage are often very different. Strong split though, and that one's safely in the bag. So Popper moves up into second place overall, but in the clean and jerk takes the lead with that lift, 2.5 kilos ahead of Kozlowski. You sense the build-up here, don't you, David? This is just the hors d'oeuvre. We haven't really got to the main course yet. Yelyashkov, much stronger in the snatch than he is in the clean and jerk, and he's only got a 5 kilo advantage.
Yes, he really could have done with that 170, and he knew that. He knew he had to get a big lead in the snatch if he was going to hold off Oleg. And of course Oleg will have the benefit of waiting and seeing exactly what he needs to do.
So 195 kilos, which of course would instantly give him the lead in a clean and jerk and put him into the lead overall. It would give him the total that he should surely get this.
Well, that doesn't look good. Very wide feet in the low squat, and doesn't even manage to clean it. The weight looks very, very heavy.
So now Sufyan Abbas-Nada opening clean and jerk. Now Nada, remember, in the bronze medal position, only 2.5 kilos behind Yelyashkov and Melikian of Armenia. But of course, only 2.5 kilos ahead of the world record holder at the halfway stage. So in the lead overall, 357.5 kilos. Ahead of Popper. Kozlowski drops to third. So Yelyashkov really under pressure now, David. He's got to make this lift because he needs more than this. But he daren't try any more until he's secured this. And mind you, I have seen him go for broke before now. It wouldn't surprise me if he does miss this, if he sits it out and just goes for one huge one. Just waits and waits to see if there's anything that could give him a bronze medal or something like that.
We have a problem. Maybe cramping of the calves. Or even a hamstring.
I think he might come out for the third attempt, Yeliashkov, but I'm not sure when. I think he might sit and wait for a while, David.
Maybe. That was better. So 6 lifts out of 6 on his first competition back. That was the best of the 3, in my opinion. And in the referees as well, they've given him 3 white lights.
But he's occupying only 2nd place at the moment. So he's destined in the overall table to be pushed down. He's 2nd in the clean and jerk by virtue of being heavier than Nada of Qatar. Well, he's not going to do what I've seen him do in the past. He's going to stay conservative and come out for a 3rd attempt. This is Yeliashkov I'm talking about, the 29-year-old Bulgarian. A world title won at the lighter category of 69 kilos in 1998, bronze medalist in this division in 1999, but under real pressure now. He has 25 seconds left in which to get the bar moving. If he gets it, he has a total. If he doesn't, it's just the snatch gold. But he's got it up there. Well, that's
what a fight.
That is a brilliant recovery. I thought the legs had just buckled and it would go. And he's got 3 white lights and he has really given everything to get that lift in.
Well, in the clean, if you watch, look, he almost loses it in the clean, has to push it back onto the shoulders. Then he takes it over the head, not in a good position, and then steps right underneath and still manages to hold on. So a good effort, but now he just has to sit and hope that it's enough.
He has a total of 360. He's only 2.5 kilos ahead of Nada. Nada's got 2 lifts to come anyway. But now, before we see him again, it's the appearance of Barkam of Iran. Now, Barkam of Iran in 4th place at the halfway stage. Exactly the same kilos as Nada of Qatar, 162.5. So opening up here on 197.5. "15 seconds. "10 seconds. 8 seconds. On 5, he moves the bar. But takes the overall lead with a lighter body weight than Yeliashkov.
Yeah, just to clarify the timing, you have to get the bar past the knees before the clock will stop. Perhaps I didn't make that clear. You've got a minute to not actually complete the lift, but a minute to get the bar past the knees.
So Adrian Popper now with a 5 kilo increase here. Popper 76 kilos, 34 body weight, so this would take him into the lead ahead of Barkam of Iran, who weighed in at 76.42. Popper would go to 352.5, which would really not change his overall position, but it doesn't matter anyway because he hasn't lifted the weight. One more chance. Perepechenov, the world record holder, in the wings, waiting. Ferry of Hungary, whose strong suit is the clean and jerk, in the wings, waiting. Melikian of Armenia, silver medal this evening in the snatch, waiting to begin. So Popper at the moment is the man who's going to follow himself. 2 minutes on the clock.
Next to be
197.5 kilos on the weight there, so 12.5 kilos off the world record, David?
That's right. And of course, that world record held by Oleg, the Russian, who's also down to start with 200 kilos.
I think that's probably a very sensible weight, because it's a very good weight to come in, and then he'll be able to assess really to what level he has to push himself.
Well, it immediately puts him ahead of Playman of Bulgaria by virtue of lighter body weight on the total, because of course Playman only managed to do the 195, and although he had the 5 kilo advantage on the snatch, he was heavier. So he can, with his first attempt, he can sort of beat him off, and then it's just a question of using his other two to take everybody else and maybe go for a world record to win the title. The world record is great, but the title comes first.
So half a minute for Popper. Was a gymnast before he was a weightlifter.
He's very heavily muscled, very, very strong in the legs. You watch how easy he stands up with this weight. Now, needs to drive it to straight arms, which he can't do. So he finishes with 192.5 to go with a snatch of 155. And that gives him a total of 347.5. And he's not really going to be challenging for any of the medals now.
$200 kilos loaded on the bar, which is looking awesome.
440 pounds.
Melikian. Well, pretty good first half. Now, can he match that performance or indeed improve on it?
Yes, very, very good attempt at that 171 world record.
Now, he was third in the Olympic Games, David. He's clean and jerked 197.5 kilos in Sydney. So, again...
And he snatched 157.5 in Sydney?
162.5.
162, so he was 2.5 up on that, and this is 2.5 up on the clean and jerk if he gets it. And of course he'll have 2 more attempts to go even further.
Three white lights, good lift, 365 kilos, gives him a 5 kilo advantage overall ahead of Bakar of Iran, and Yelyashkov now down to 3rd place. And I have to say, it's going to be not too long before he finds himself off the overall podium. So here comes the world record holder, 210 kilos, Oleg Perepechenov. Fantastic performance in the Europeans this year to achieve that.
But he wasn't under any pressure in the Europeans. Here he is under pressure. This lift doesn't give him first place.
No, it gives him 360, which would put him into 2nd place overall. And it would put him into 1st place in the clean and jerk. Still looks fairly strong to me.
Yeah, but not as convincing as he was at the Europeans. He faltered slightly on that jerk. had to work out the clean. Now you watch this jerk. He just drives above the head and just falters slightly, but manages to hold. So he's got total, and he can now concentrate on going further for the overall. But of course, this man's still well in the competition. Did that snatch of 160.
Well, that's right. And Ferry, well, maybe he likes Turkey because this is where he won his one and only world clean and jerk title.
Yes, let's see what he's got in the clean and
Actually,
jerk.
I've maligned him, actually. He won it twice. He won it in China as well. Just remembered. Won it in Guangzhou. He won the clean and jerk title there as well.
That's good.
So 360 for him. Karapetchenov stays in the lead in the clean and jerk because he's the lightest of the major contenders at the moment. Overall, at the moment, it's Melikian with 365 who leads from Karapetchenov, who's got 5 kilos to find. And then Barker in third place. Yelyashkov is now off the podium into fourth. Ferry is up to fifth on 360. There are 4 men on 360 with body weight deciding all those positions. Now Nada, who at the moment has got a total of 357.5, is now about to take a 7.5 kilo increase. So this would take him to 365 and would give him the overall lead.
Well, when he came off the stage after that first clean and jerk, he put one finger up. I don't know if that meant that, because you remember that he was considered as a second string Bulgarian. That was why he was sold to Qatar. So there's kind of a bit of needle there. They don't like being considered second. So hard clean. Needs to hold. Oh. Well, that would have been great if he could have done it, because as you say, it would have put him into the lead.
That would have really opened up, well, it wouldn't have opened up the competition, but it would have made it mighty interesting. And worth remembering that it was Bada of Qatar who won this title in 1999 in Athens. But now Barker for Iran, 202.5. So this is 5 kilos. This is going to take him to 365 total if he gets it, and it's going to put him into the overall lead. And he's, remember, still got one more attempt to come after this. This is only his second attempt. 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Come on.
That was good. Now. Well, that'll disappoint him. Good clean. And he looked fairly comfortable with the weight on his shoulder.
Split
just
was
didn't lock out that right arm, did he?
Split was quite deep. Not quite sick. Yeah, that doesn't show it really. So now Nada, second attempt at 202.5 kilos. So again, this is the opportunity to go into the overall lead, and of course the lead in the clean and jerk. So at the moment we've got 8 lifts remaining in the whole competition. He's worked for that, but has he got the strength?
Yes.
Yes, he does. And slid his arms out.
Needs to hold. Yes.
3 white lights, they're happy with it. And Nada, as you said, David, underlining that he's no second string.
Yes, well, of course, that puts him in front of Playman by 5 kilos.
Well, he's well ahead, 365. He's ahead on body weight, ahead of Malikian. Perepechenov is 5 kilos off the pace. Yelyashkov is a distant memory now in this competition, and it's all down to Perepechenov, who's waiting at the moment. The bar going up for Malikian to 205 kilos. As you see, Nada, who's now completing his lifting, all he can do is to wait and see what his efforts are worth, what he's going to get out of the evening. Remember, he's got a snatch bronze, but is he going to get a clean and jerk medal? And more importantly for him, can he get an overall medal?
Well, if Malikian gets this lift, we're going to have to see at least, we'll have to see the world record at least equalled for anybody to take him.
Yes, because you've still got Perepechenov 5 kilos behind Malikian. So this is going to open the gap, as you rightly said, David, by 10 kilos. And then it'll be interesting, is Perepechenov prepared to take a 10 kilo increase for his second lift? And there's still Ferry.
Of course, yeah.
Still Attila Ferry lurking. Number of combinations. So in a way, we quite like Malikian to get this.
Yeah, this will put pressure on everybody.
He wasn't that far away. He's got one more go at it.
Yeah, just positioning. He's not. His hips need to be under the bar in the second phase, in the jerk. We can't see it here. If we could see it from the side and we could see his hips, we'd see that they were actually behind the bar. But to see that, you need to look at it right from the side view. Yeah. Well, this will actually put him in the lead at this point. This will give him 365, and he'll go into the lead by virtue of lighter body weight.
Well, I think this is an interesting assessment, because coaches don't only watch the weight board, but they also watch the opponents and their body language and the warm-ups, and maybe they think that...
Maybe they think this is enough.
Oh dear! Now they have a problem.
Yeah, he's certainly not quite in as good a shape as he was at the Europeans. He's definitely under more pressure here, because at the Europeans he did 210 and it was easy, or comparatively easy anyway.
I wonder, has the door just opened for Attila Ferry for yet another clean and jerk triumph? It might have done, you know. He's heavy, but no matter, if you lift the weight, then it could be.
Well, no one's lifted this yet, so this will certainly, the success at this lift will certainly put Ferry into the second place overall, but will put him into first place in the clean and jerk. Now, this looks heavy. Has he got what it takes?
Well, he knew absolutely how important it was to get that lift. And this is a bit disappointing, David, because we always like to see championships decided by success rather than failure. It's just got a bit negative at the moment. Mind you, these are mighty heavyweights.
Well, Mohamed Bahar has decided that he's not going to bother with the 202.5. He's going to really pile on the pressure and go for that 205 kilos.
Yeah,
and this, of course, will put him in the lead, because it would give him he snatched 162.5. This will put him on 367 and give him the overall lead, and of course the lead on the clean and jerk.
Yeah, 367.5. So again, another high card being played. His last chance. But goodness gracious me, what happens if he does this? And he might.
Well, there's 3 clean and jerks in this competition left after this lift. So everything is still to play for.
8 seconds.
Really
7,
takes it down to the last
6,
second.
5. Oh, can he get up? Can he get up? Yes, he can. Now, the split.
That was hard. The clean was hard. He's really going to need something special. No.
Ooh.
Yeah, he really had to work hard to stand up with that big weight. That was right on the limit. And when the clean is that hard, you need to be quite special in the second phase to be able to jerk it after that.
And he finds himself, sadly for him, at the moment out of the medals, in 4th place overall and in 5th place in the clean and jerk. 360, so close is it that Perepechenov, Ferry, Melikian, Barkam and Yelyashkov are all on 360 in the clean and jerk. Sorry, in the total.
Well, the good thing for for Oleg is that the Russian is that he can sit back and he can wait now, and he knows if the Armenian fails with this, all he has to do is succeed with 5 kilos less than his own world record, and he'll win the title. But he also knows if the Armenian succeeds, he's going to have to go to 210, which would equal the existing world record. So what a competition. Of course, Attila Ferry still very much in there.
Well, the clip's not bad at all now.
Again, it's just positioning.
I was going to say, so close to establishing that, but what it means for Melikian is that he finds himself in the clean and jerk in 4th place. Overall, he's 2nd. So it's Qatar who lead, Nada, who's got the kilos on the board, who's lighter than Melikian, 76 kilos 36, and those two are 1st and 2nd. Perepechenov 5 kilos off the pace. So as you said, it's this lift to take him into the lead.
Of course, if Perepechenov succeeds with this, the Romanian could always
Ferry.
Oh, he's Hungarian now. Of course, he used to be. I always think of him as Romanian. Of course, he used to be Romanian. Hungarian.
He could go for
207.5 and try and take the overall title and the clean and jerk. So.
Oh, he can't do it.
It's not as strong as he was at the Europeans, not by any means.
So now the situation is that Attila Ferry needs, he's on 76 kilos 60, he's heavier than Nada, he's heavier than Melikian, so he's got to do the
207.5 if he wants to win the overall. If he wants the clean and jerk medal, he can take 205.
So this is a judgment call about his own position, and
so he's decided that he wants the clean and jerk medal and the 2nd place overall or 3rd.
Well, just having a look at this,
body weights.
It would take him.
I think it would take him into 2nd.
It would give him 365. Which
take him into 2nd place.
Well, take him into bronze medal position.
No, 2nd place on light body weight. He's slightly lighter than Melikian, isn't he?
Yeah.
So.
And it would push Perepechenov off the podium.
He wants this now. Well, it was a good effort. He didn't quite catch the clean in the right position, but he fought his way out from that bottom position, and sadly that leaves him on 360.
But what it does mean, David, is after a competition with so many twists and turns, that the title remains with Qatar. It was Nada in 1999, and now it's Nada in 2001.
Yeah, and he must have known something, because after the first clean and jerk on 195, he walked off the platform and he raised up one finger, as if to say, number one. And I thought, well, why would you think you were number one after a clean and jerk of 195? What do you know that we don't? You've got the Oleg, the world record holder, on the clean and jerk in there. You've got 2 or 3 other guys, all capable of jerking over 200. What makes you think that you're going to win? And
well, obviously someone was looking down upon him, because it certainly went his way. And Ferry, well, a wonderful opportunity really to get a 3rd clean and jerk title, but not able to do it. And with it, his chance of an overall medal. As it is in the clean and jerk, it's Nada who took the snatch bronze, getting the clean and jerk gold with 202.5 kilos. And look at all those failures there. That really decided not only the clean and jerk title, but more importantly, the overall championship. Yelyashkov suffering really. If he got that extra 5 or even more kilos in the snatch, well, he would have probably held on to a position on the podium, but as it is, unable to do that. In the overall title, it's Nada of Qatar by lighter body weight who takes the title ahead of the Armenian Melikian, with Perepechenov of Russia, the European champion, hanging on to the bronze medal. Again, lighter body weight decided, keeping the Iranian out of 4th place.
yes, of course, it makes you wonder if Perepechenov had taken more conservative jumps, had gone from 160 to 162 and from 200 to 202.5, maybe he would have retained the title. So tactics playing a big part there. I think that Nada really did play his cards perfectly.
With David Morgan, and tonight